Example 1 of absolute values. The first example says simplify each expression the absolute value of 17 minus 6. So the first step, what we have to do is actually subtract what's in the absolute value. In this case, it's 17 minus 6. And 17 minus 6 is 11. And then we put that inside the absolute value. So it's the absolute value of 11. And then when we find the absolute value, what is the distance 11 is from 0? In this case, it's 11 units. So our answer is 11. The absolute value of 17 minus 6 is 11 because it's 11 units from 0. Example 2 for absolute value. We're going to simplify the absolute value of negative 8 plus the absolute value of negative 5. So the first step we have to do is find the absolute value of negative 8. And negative 8 is 8 units from 0. So the absolute value of negative 8 is 8. And then the second thing we have to do is find the absolute value of negative 5. And negative 5 is 5 units from 0. So the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So we have the absolute value of negative 8, which is 8. We bring down the plus sign. And the absolute value of negative 5 is 5. So we have 8 plus 5, and we add those together, and we get 13. So our answer to the absolute value of negative 8 plus the absolute value of negative 5 is 13. Example 3 for absolute values. Simplify the expression absolute value of 5 plus 1 plus the absolute value of 8 minus 6. So in order to do this problem first, we have to do the first absolute value, which is the absolute value of 5 plus 1. Okay, we do 5 plus 1 first. 5 plus 1 is 6, so that leaves us with the absolute value of 6. We're going to bring down our plus sign, and then we're going to do the second part, which is the absolute value of 8 minus 6. And 8 minus 6 we have to do first, which is 2. So we get the absolute value of 2. So now we got to do the absolute value. So how far is 6 from 0? It's 6. Bring down the plus sign. And how far is 2 from 0? So the absolute value of 2 is 2 because it's 2 units from 0. And then we have 6 plus 2, which is 8, and we add them together. So the absolute value of 5 plus 1 plus the absolute value of 8 minus 6 is 8, and I'm going to circle my answer.
Absolute value sentence frames. The absolute value of blank is blank. So in the first blank, you need to put the absolute value of a number is, and then what the answer is in the second blank. Sentence frame number 2. The absolute value of blank can be represented on a number line at blank and blank because they are the same distance from 0. So in the first blank, you're going to put the absolute value of a number, and then in the second and third blanks, you're going to put what numbers would they be represented on a number line.